Welcome back to the GP Productions podcast. Okay, welcome back to the show, and today I'm joined by Irish singer and musician Natalie Moran. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. We talked about this for a while, and I was just talking to you off camera. I like to get some Irish musicians on board as well, and hopefully this one goes a little bit better than the last one.
That's it. Yeah, I think we were saying that, the Irish are a little bit sometimes too easy going. So it's so easy to every question just say, sure, look, it's grand. So I'll try to give you a bit more than that now for this one.
Yeah. The less talking I'm doing, the better. Like you're the guest, you sell yourself here now.
Brilliant.
Just firstly, anyway, like how did you get into music? Say from a young age, how did you decide that you wanted to get into it?
Yeah, perfect. My music journey, it's been kind of a long one to get me to kind of where I am today. So I was kind of that kid in school who was always trying to find their way into kind of whatever production was going on, or during the summers, if there was any kind of summer projects, anything that I could really get my hands on that was music, I was there. So I was always kind of really inspired and had quite a love for it. If I could perform in front of the family, that was all brilliant. And I guess from there, just as I got older, learning ways to kind of take kind of all the stuff that you had used back then and your learnings and developing your love for it and just bringing it forward into a way that you're kind of creating something like of your own and kind of going forward with performing in front of people who are actually kind of there to see you and not your family that you're making listen to you. So it's been a good journey.
Yeah, and in terms of yourself, like what instruments do you play apart from singing?
Yeah, so my vocals and kind of my voice would be my main instrument. However, I do use a lot of instruments in order to kind of get the writing process done. So anybody who loves pop music might know though kind of like the four chord progression and how much you can really write from that. So my most kind of used one would be my ukulele. That's my favorite one. So I would often kind of strum that, and that would kind of inspire my music to become kind of something that was just a couple of chords into a song, and then of course just adding a few extra little things there. I love trying to kind of use other little instruments, not necessarily that I play, but try to interpret them into my music. So past songs, I have a Christmas song, and if you listen out to the end, there's a xylophone in it, and that was me in the studio, and the I guess the studio producer, I don't think he had seen anybody actually take out a xylophone before with a little stick and say, okay, I'm going to do these notes now. So
Yeah.
I'm always trying to find kind of interesting ways to bring in instruments to the music. But yeah, ukulele would be my main one, and everything else is kind of what I can dawdle with.
Yeah. In terms of writing a song, for example, do you lay lyrics down first then, or would you mess around with different instruments to try to get a feel for something?
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people say, like, is it lyrics or melody? But I think my songwriting actually kind of comes from emotion. So I tend to be, triggered by, like, I'll watch a film and, I'll connect with how the actors are feeling, and it will make me feel a certain way. And then from there, I might like hum something or strum something that kind of represents that mood. And, or I'll get kind of like, rather than full lyrics, I'll tend to get like one sentence, and that one sentence will probably be kind of the main hook of the song. And I'd kind of use that. That would be kind of my method there.
Yeah. And just in terms of recording, we'll touch on the three singles individually as we go along, but where did you get them recorded? The quality is really good.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I love using kind of local people. So it's been really good as well. The pandemic was kind of great for that in a way. I know nobody ever says the pandemic is great, but in this context, it kind of got me thinking about what other ways, if I can't be out there performing and getting the music out there that way, what else can I do? And it got me into recording. So yeah, I record locally in Dublin, 8 and Dublin 12 area, which is kind of where I'm from as well. So it's always nice to kind of support local and all that kind of stuff. So I'm always delighted with the quality, and as well I was willing to kind of promote other studios and work with other artists and collaborate.
Yeah, I used to live in the Dublin 12 area for a long time myself. My first night there, I was working in Centra in Sundrive Road.
Oh yes, I know.
And yeah, I was there on my first night, and I was working there, and two guys came in and kicked the shit out of the security guard, and I was like, "Welcome to Dublin." I knew I was into it then.
That's it. Yeah, sure. It must be something with Irish in Dublin 12 as well, because that's where Conor McGregor's from. So there's another one I was promoting Dublin 12.
Have you been to his pub yet?
I have, yeah, I have indeed. I have dined there many a times. I haven't went there for a drink yet, so um, not very Dub of me, but I'll get to that eventually.
I think he's like there nearly every night of the week now, according to his Instagram anyway. Living the dream. Have you tried the whiskey?
I have. I actually tried it when it first came out. I wouldn't be a whiskey drinker though, so it was more just a taste test kind of thing. But I don't know how whiskey's supposed to taste, so as far as I know, it's great.
It's all good. Yeah, it's just Bushmills in a different bottle anyway. I can tell
Really.
you that. Yeah. Your Christmas song that we touched on earlier, Not a Usual December Song. Do you want to talk to me about how that came about and why did you release it? Because I know Christmas songs are kind of like, it's risky to release one, really, isn't it? People always talk about it, but then they're like,
That's it, absolutely. And I think this one, I actually kind of debuted in late 2021, but this song kind of came around in 2020. And it was just something that came from kind of something that I was going through in my life at the moment. So my dog had, like, we got news that she wasn't going to see kind of the Christmas time. And one of the lyrics there is even inspired by her around the holly leaves, and her name was Holly. So I just kind of felt that this song needed to come around because it was a Christmas that a lot of people were going through loss, or even they just couldn't connect with people that they would normally connect with. So I think everybody kind of had this, it doesn't feel like Christmas, it's not the usual way. But I wanted to write a song as well that was kind of, it very much kind of touched on the topic of maybe like reuniting and a hopefulness as well. So it just kind of felt like a necessary thing to release at the time, and I'm glad I did. And as risky as Christmas songs are, I think I was wondering how it would kind of feel in other years, when the pandemic isn't, etc. But I think a lot of people, each Christmas, you might feel a different way, and I think it still connects with a lot of people. So good one to release. It's not your usual jingle bell one, but I think it's something that can listen and connect to a lot of people.
Yeah, and then from kind of like you were saying, obviously that was a sad time with everything that was going on, and then you bounce into a song like My Ambition, which is like totally different and off the wall. Like, and I like the kind of 80s vibes to it because I like 80s pops, and it's definitely been inspired by that as well. Like, can you tell me about the process of that song and how that came about?
Absolutely. Yeah, that was an interesting one because originally it was an acoustic guitar. It was kind of that moment where I was just kind of sitting there and strumming. And I actually was kind of just talking to people who are in the rap community here in Ireland, and about kind of their process, and their thing is, mostly kind of using beats rather than, getting your acoustic guitar out. And I was kind of listening to some, and I started humming the melody that I had wrote to the acoustic song, and I was like, no, this sounds so much better to, like, my head is starting to like this one. So I kind of got the idea then that I wanted to do something that was kind of, it followed that kind of beat track. But I just think that, that kind of feel good vibe was kind of very prominent in the 80s. And I think I kind of wanted to bring that through as well there. I didn't want to just have it very modern and just very beat. I wanted to kind of bring something back that kind of made people go, oh, like I recognize that, or, I have feelings about that time, or it reminds me of kind of other songs that I enjoy. So I definitely wanted to merge kind of like modern with old school, and just kind of bring it out with a track that kind of was to be the debut. As you said, it's kind of one of those hits you tracks, but it definitely kind of said, well, got the message out that I wanted to, that I was kind of going to join the scene, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon.
And you had a bit of crack making the video, I think, as well, by the looks of things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. I'm actually very with my music videos, I actually think it's very good that I'm kind of quite limited still at the moment. I don't know when kind of restrictions would be completely gone, because if I had my way, I'd probably be like, okay, so this is the part where I'm going to jump out of a plane and I'm going to backflip onto an elephant. So I think I got as much craziness as I could into my ambition, but yeah, I look forward to see what crazy I can kind of bring in as time goes on.
Yeah, and we talked about those two songs, and obviously they're totally different, which is what we're going to talk about now, your influences and like music that you like. So take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't let anybody see my private playlist on Spotify, because they're just absolutely, you're touching on every genre. I think I'm inspired more by how a song makes me feel more than like a particular artist or a particular genre. So I do tend to dip in. But if I had to say kind of early influences or singing styles, the first people that I kind of introduced myself to was Shania Twain. I bought her album. I went to James Blunt concert as well. And, my whole household loved Westlife. So I think that's when I write kind of my ballads. They're kind of where those inspirations come from. And then, I would be classed as maybe a soprano. So that's kind of where that sits into. But I do have like a huge admiration for Motown and Amy Winehouse. So whenever I'm trying to bring those kind of deeper tones or those deeper messages, and that's kind of where I'm inspired there. And then just the songwriting and the talent that's out there at the moment is amazing. Lewis Capaldi could make anyone cry and then laugh once he's being interviewed, but cry when he's singing. And there's just so much talent and so much inspiration out there in the industry now. So I just feel like it's always kind of growing, but they would be kind of early influences.
In terms of the gig scene over here, obviously I know nothing's been happening since you kind of pushed your stuff out there really during the
Mhm.
pandemic and that. But pre that, have you done any much gigs around Dublin or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would have definitely touched on it. So originally, kind of with my music, I would have kind of done more. They wouldn't have been kind of gigs as such, because it would have been just myself. But
Yeah,
then I kind of found a way when I started playing with other musicians and finding ways that I could still perform, but I could actually have another musician playing. So I just kind of started at that. I think I played around 3 venues, getting that kind of that actual kind of gig culture, and it was amazing. And I really, really loved it. And I had so many plans as well for 2020 to do so. Even kind of organizing my own show was something I had in the works, and promoting some Irish talent there. So not too much, but it's just given me more time to think about when the scenes do open up, what way I want to do it. And I have a few things lined up that it's probably a bit just too early, because we'll see how the country goes. But I'm excited that there is definitely stuff in the works, and there's some musicians as well that I work with kind of regularly, to get something going, and maybe some resident work too, so people can visit me regularly.
brilliant. No, I think in terms of the way things have gone over the last, well, the reopening, it seemed like I was delighted when everything opened, same as everyone else. But then it was like, so on Friday night, everything was fucked. But then on Saturday morning, there you go, lads, pandemic is over, do what you want. It just seemed like, because of the way we've been living kind of the last 2 years, it seemed like, Jesus, really fast or something. Now, I'm not complaining about it, don't get me wrong, but like, I work in a shop, like, and the old people coming in, they'll be like, ah, it's too soon, it's too soon. And I'd be like, it's been like 2 years. Like, how soon is too soon? But hopefully things are going the right direction anyway.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it is kind of a good opportunity now for musicians to kind of enter the scene again, because I think it's been a long time. But I think I've seen a lot of creative stuff come out from it too, because I know that although we haven't been able to focus on gigs too much, I think it's given a lot of people a chance to kind of reevaluate and kind of see where they want to bring their music, or think about recording, or think about their social media and stuff like that. So I think it's been productive either way, but it will be good to kind of see it back open.
Yeah, I think there has been a few people that I know and I've heard of as well that unfortunately went the other way, that kind of would rely solely on pub gigs and stuff like that, and they've kind of gone out of the game altogether into different avenues, which is sad. But maybe they'll find their way back, hopefully. Right, this is a big week anyway. This video we're recording now. What day is it? Monday. Yeah. So this is Wednesday.
Mhm.
What what is happening Friday?
So Friday is the release of my latest single. It's called What's It Like? It will be followed as well by a music video on the Saturday too. The music video as well, for anybody who kind of likes that forest fairy, fairy tale type thing. That was something that's quite envisioned here. So, the track we touched on a bit earlier, My Ambition, it's going to be quite different to
Yeah,
that.
it's just it kind of went from here to over here somewhere.
That's it, but it's
Like
just because it's
peppers.
special, because it's Valentine's, and it's
Yeah,
kind of the month of love. So, yeah, so something a little bit different, and different as well from the next tracks that are going to come out. So hopefully people kind of enjoy this kind of laid back and kind of like a take on love as well.
yeah. And what was the inspiration behind this song?
Yeah, so the inspiration for this, I was actually sitting there again with the guitar, just kind of playing these notes. And it was kind of that time of day where you have the curtains open, but the light's still off. And that you just don't actually see, it's day one time and it's night the next. And the lights kind of went down. And I just kind of got this, this idea of like being held with the lights out. And it just started to inspire this kind of tone. And I was like, oh, I'd love to write a love song about kind of the little things that like make relationships great, always knowing that there's somebody you can call or somewhere you can go, and just, holding someone with the lights out and all this kind of stuff. And then quite quickly I realized that I didn't know what I was writing about. I was like, what's that like? I don't know what this is like. I got
Yeah,
so far into it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know how to express this. So as I continued to write, I end up changing the focus as to kind of the other perspective, that it's the perspective of kind of love searchers, rather than people who kind of have love, and their perspective of these little things, and they're acknowledging what these little things are, and that it feels like everyone else has it, but they haven't quite found it yet, and they do
yeah,
want to know what it's like, and that's kind of where the song kind of got its inspiration from.
yeah. And I got a sneak little peek of it, and it's really good, and it's totally different, a completely different music video as well for this one.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And actually, on the note as well of kind of, it's inspirations. And I know that I kind of took an inspiration for it to be, from someone who's kind of a love searcher and someone who hasn't found the one yet. But I like to kind of create a panel of some free listeners. So just kind of like yourself, I'll have some free listeners before it actually goes live. And one of the people that I actually showed, and they took a totally different perspective of it. And I thought it was lovely, because, it's like, what do you think of the song? And they're like, oh, it's a beautiful wedding song. And I went, wait, no, I'm talking about, like, I don't know what it's like. What do you mean? And their inspiration from it and what they kind of thought about it was that it made them think of how there was a time when you didn't have that love in your life, and that you
Yeah,
have it now, and you're so grateful for it, and how you never want to let it go. And I think as well, towards the end of the song, when people listen to it, they'll say that it gets a bit more hopeful. So I thought that it was quite lovely as well, that the original audience, I thought, was aimed for that it can also kind of touch the heartstrings of somebody who is kind of happily in love too. So that was quite nice.
yeah, yeah. So obviously someone thought about it and researched it, and just found that conclusion from it, which is nice as well, because it shows that they actually listened to the song as well, which is good.
That's it, yeah, and it's amazing as well that people do take kind of different thought processes about how something makes them feel. And it is so nice to know that when you put something out, it's like any piece of art, when you're kind of looking at it, and these famous ones in your art galleries, and you're just like, all I see is a blob, but someone's like, oh no, I see the ocean, and I see
Yeah, yeah.
so people do that with music too, so that's really cool to see.
If we're sitting down this time next year, right here at this time, what do you
Mhm.
want to have achieved in the next year?
Yeah, wonderful. So I have kind of big goals and aspirations for this year, as set out by My Ambition. There's a little plug.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, definitely. So as I kind of touched on, I'm kind of trying to get into the gig scene again, also a bit of residency. Again, I love kind of supporting locals, so I'm hoping to have that there. So I guess if anybody like from here follows me on social media, or anyone who I have, I'll be updating where those places are, and kind of new singles that are coming out there. And what I hope here is, I have, once kind of one song seems to finish, I always seem to have the next one in the works. So there's kind of a series of songs still to come. So this time next year there'll be a lot more releases, a lot more gigs, and hopefully some good healthy growth there, and a bigger audience, so that they can kind of tell me, I won't just have the the one person there telling me, oh, I took this inspiration for your song, I'll have several more. So always kind of growing and just getting a chance to do more of what I love.
Just keep showing your ambition.
That's it. Or as Dory says, just keep swimming.
If people want to look at your music and look you up on social media, where can they find you? I'll put the links in this video anyway.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, I'm kind of available most places. But if there is kind of a social media site that I'm not on, you can always tell me on another one that I need to get on it. But yeah, you can find me on the usual Twitter, Instagram. I also have a singing TikTok, which I am hoping to do live streams on there. And then of course Facebook page, and then where you can actually check the content out. It's on most streaming platforms, and then of course YouTube is where you'll get the videos.
Yeah, well, best of luck for the year. We'll catch up again next year and we'll see where you're at.
Thanks a million, and same to you. And I look forward to seeing where the podcast continues to grow as well. It's it's come on leaps and bounds, and it's just it's great to see how many kind of people and guests that you have on, and I look really forward to continue to watch them.
Yeah, so like I had a wrestler on the last podcast, and now you're on this one, and then the one after you is Owen Colgan from the Hardy books. So like you never know who you're going to find.
Wow, amazing.
Thanks so much, Natalie.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.